If the owner of the Indiana Felines, who owns the most valuable dump in the WNBA, which really isn't saying much, I mean, Gomez, with a handful of pesos in his pocket, has a higher net worth than most of the employees in this league. He damn sure has more money than the players who pretend to play basketball. But if the owner of the Indiana Felines thought that people would continue supporting the team without Caitlin Clark, he was given a harsh introduction to reality, because the answer is no.
The WNBA is in serious trouble, and there's no one coming to the rescue. Since Caitlin Clark's injury, the league has been teetering on the edge of a full-blown crisis, revealing just how dependent it's become on a single superstar. This isn't media hype. It's a stark, unfiltered look at a league suddenly scrambling for stability, with its brightest star stuck on the sidelines.
The felines are falling faster than a lonely man being mesmerized by the seductive moves of the dancing queen Jackie Mahomes. This was definitely humbling for Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado. Believe it or not, for the past year, Angel Reese has actually thought she was the reason people were watching the WNBA. Angel Reese actually believed that people were clamoring to watch her attempt to pretend to play basketball.
Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's electrifying guard, has been the WNBA's rocket fuel, driving record-breaking viewership, sold-out arenas, and a surge in revenue. But her recent injury, a left quad strain sidelining her for at least 2 weeks, has thrown the league into chaos. Ratings are plummeting, ticket prices are collapsing, and the failure to protect its biggest star has become impossible to ignore. And it gets even more explosive. The WNBA's hyper-politicized culture and blatant officiating double standards are undermining its own growth, alienating fans, and jeopardizing what could have been its breakout era. Stick around. What comes next is a game changer.
Is celebrating the so-called success of the WNBA. Last Saturday, Caitlin Clark drew 2.2 million viewers on CBS. Well, Casey, what about Paige Bueckers? How's she doing? I have no idea. I have barely heard a damn thing about Paige Bueckers since she was drafted. Like most players drafted into this dump, Paige has entered the abyss. If you're a wanted criminal, there's no need for you to hide in Mexico or a country with no extradition. If you're a wanted criminal, you can hide right here at home. Just apply for a job in the WNBA and no one will ever see you again.
Only one thing remains unspoken by the WNBA. Caitlin Clark has been their ratings juggernaut since entering the league in 2024. Games featuring the Indiana Fever with Clark on the court averaged a massive 1.178 million viewers. Without her, that number plunged to just $394,000, a staggering drop of nearly 2/3. The numbers don't lie, even if the league won't say it out loud.
Look, as the season goes on, playing with 2 bigs, I think they'll make some adjustments, but they are doing a good job playing with 2 bigs so far.
And there's Clark turning the corner, getting to the rim and drawing the foul.
Caitlin Clark's impact hit historic levels during her playoff debut against the Connecticut Sun, drawing 1.84 million viewers. Game 2 soared even higher, pulling in 2.54 million, a new WNBA postseason record. Her influence wasn't limited to screens either. The Fever's regular season finale against the Washington Mystics packed 20,000 in Uweni. Well, they started 11 fans into Capital One Arena, making it the most attended regular season game in league history. Clark wasn't just a rising star. She was a full-blown phenomenon, tripling the WNBA's pre-2024 average of 301,000 viewers per game from 2023.
Is driving the WNBA insane. It's to the point that she may need to step away from the WNBA, have a billionaire come in that has the money to prove a point, and say, Caitlin, I'll pay you $50 million just to see if the WNBA can make it without you. Let's go create a completely different league and expose the hell out of the WNBA just to embarrass this Angel Reese girl that Jameel Hill just said she could go down as a Michael Jordan of WNBA.
And here's where things take a shocking turn. Without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA is hemorrhaging viewers faster than Angel Reese can drive the lane. The Fever's first game without Clark, a loss to the Washington Mystics, drew just $357,000 viewers on NBA TV, a steep 39% drop from the 581,000 pro who tuned in for her last outing against the Atlanta Dream. Fans across social media are sounding the alarm, pointing out that Fever games have plummeted from highs of 2.7 million viewers to under 800,000 without Clark on the floor.
Different times during the game, situational defense will be better because they have all those things. I think that's a combination of why they're going to have a much better defensive effort.
There's Clark with a beautiful find inside to Aaliyah.
Last year's finals without Clark still managed to draw 2.22 million viewers for Game 5 between the New York Liberty and Minnesota Lynx. But even that pales in comparison to Clark's regular season pull. The 2025 semifinals, featuring heavyweights like the Liberty and Las Vegas Aces, averaged just 929,000 viewers, barely half of the 1.8 million who tuned in for Clark's playoff opener.
The WNBA's got a real ratings problem, okay? The ratings came out for the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark game. I saw some people actually trying to spin this as a positive, and I was like, they're like 235,000 viewers. How is that a positive?
And here's the shocking truth. The WNBA's dependence on Caitlin Clark is so intense that her absence leaves a void no other player can fill. This isn't just a temporary dip, it's a full-on collapse. You'll want to pay close attention to what comes next. But it gets even worse. Clark's absence isn't just tanking TV ratings, it's gutting the league's bottom line. In 2024, the Fever led the WNBA with an average home attendance of 7,36, outdrawing some NBA teams, including the Indiana Pacers. League-wide attendance hit a record 2.3 million for the 12-team era, with Clark responsible for driving 33.5% of that total. Her road games were pure magic, boosting opponent attendance by an average of 87% and an eye-popping 137% when you exclude the consistently packed Las Vegas Aces.
Now Howard with numbers. Bounce pass ahead. Mitchell running the floor, lays it in.
The Fever's game against the Mystics set a WNBA attendance record with 20,711 fans, and the Liberty raked in over $2 million in ticket revenue from a single Clark-led game. But here's where things go completely off the rails. Without Clark, this financial house of cards is starting to crumble.
Congo Bravado. They had one game on their home schedule that people actually wanted to see. As soon as it was announced that Caitlin Clark was injured, sites like StubHub or Vivid Seats, they looked like a used car lot. Discounted tickets, buy one, get 5 free, pesos accepted.
The Fever's offensive rating, a solid 107.5 with Clark on the court, plummets to just 82.2 without her, making games less exciting and driving even more fans away. And you won't believe how this throws a wrench into the league's big plans. Stick around. What comes next is a total game changer. Ticket prices for Fever road games are plunging. According to Yahoo Sports, citing TickPick, the get-in price for the Fever's game against the Chicago Sky dropped from $86 to just $25. For the Mystics game, it fell from $41 to $14, staggering 42% average decline. Fans like Dave Kopecky, who canceled his trip to Indianapolis when he learned Clark was out, put it bluntly: they're Caitlin fans first, Fever fans second. Clark is the main attraction, and arenas once buzzing, with Clark Mania now risk echoing with empty seats.
Caitlin Clark got hurt. I got on here and I said they can come out of this if she's gone. I don't know what it was. I said maybe 3 weeks. They can come out of this with like a 7-4 record, or maybe it was all the way. I may have done it based on being out a month. So 4 weeks out. I said, well, they can be 7-4 coming out of this. The problem, and this is going to be a WNBA issue too, not only the Fever, as far as ratings go, I had these 2 games as wins.
At the start of 2025, the WNBA was projecting an economic impact exceeding $1 billion. thanks in large part to Caitlin Clark, who accounted for 26.5% of the league's 2024 revenue from tickets, merchandise, and TV deals. Ryan Brewer, a finance professor at Indiana University Columbus, estimated Clark's influence could push 2025 revenue past the $1 billion mark. But with Clark sidelined for at least 4 games, those projections are at serious risk. If viewership and attendance drop by a conservative 40%, the league could lose tens of millions in ticket sales, concessions, and sponsorships.
Play today, the jersey is the one that's worth it.
For a league that reportedly lost $50 million in 2024, even with Clark's boost, this is a financial disaster. The WNBA's $2.2 billion media rights deal through 2036 hinges on strong audiences, and without Clark, those numbers are plummeting. But here's the kicker. They're not telling you this could have been avoided.
People who watched this exciting event on TV to ask what they thought of the memorial to Jorge. Unfortunately, my sources were unable to locate a single person that was watching on Friday night. Not hard to figure out why, because only 431,000 people tuned into this polished turd. The results for the second game were even worse. Game 2 of this exciting doubleheader featured the Phoenix Masculines and the Seattle Shitfucks. 344,000 people.
This is where things get really interesting and ugly. The WNBA's failure to protect Caitlin Clark has fans furious and may have even contributed to her injury, a self-inflicted wound that's now costing the league dearly. Since her rookie year, Clark has endured relentless physicality, hard fouls, and verbal attacks that referees and the league office often overlook. In a 2025 game, Chicago's Angel Reese knocked Clark to the floor and shouted, "You're crazy as Faye!" Yet, officials called it just a basketball play, while the league remained silent. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, there's the alleged incident involving Brittany Griner, who reportedly called Clark an effing white girl during a game, yet faced no consequences. Social media exploded, with fans arguing that no white player could throw a racial slur at a black player without swift punishment. The demand? One standard for all, or no standard at all. Trust me, you're going to want to hear what comes next. This isn't just about fairness. It's about protecting the league's biggest asset. Clark's durability, playing 183 straight games through college, and the WNBA before this injury, made her a dependable draw. But the constant physical toll, unchecked by officials, led to the quad strain now sidelining her. Fans argue the WNBA's reluctance to clamp down on aggressive play stems from a fear of upsetting veterans or appearing to favor a rookie. Here's the twist nobody saw coming. That inaction has backfired spectacularly. Fever coach Stephanie White stressed a cautious recovery, saying, "We're taking the long game approach to avoid lingering issues, but the damage is done. Clark's absence is killing the league's momentum, and the consequences are brutal." Compare this to the NBA, where stars like LeBron James and Stephen Curry get quick whistles to shield them from excessive physicality. The WNBA's failure to protect Clark not only puts her at risk, but also alienates fans who tune in just to watch her play. Social media is ablaze with posts criticizing the league for allowing abuse against Clark, accusing it of favoritism toward players like Angel Reese. The league's refusal to comment on Clark's injury when pressed by USA Today only deepens the perception that it's fumbling its biggest star. And what happens next? It will leave you speechless.
Austin's been held to 4 points in the first half. Here is Clark, launches and hits.
But here's what makes this even crazier. The WNBA's politicized culture is choking its ability to fully capitalize on Clark's star power. The league has long championed causes like Black Lives Matter and gender equity, messages that resonate with some fans, but alienate others. Clark, a white player from Iowa, has become a lightning rod in this polarized climate. Her meteoric rise has sparked resentment among some players and commentators like Jamal Hill, who called it irresponsible to blame ratings drops solely on her absence. But the numbers don't lie. Her games draw nearly triple the viewers of others. And here's the game changer. This tension plays out on the court, with Clark not only facing intense physicality, but also verbal taunts like Brittany Griner's, which went unpunished. The refereeing double standards are glaring. Griner's alleged effing white girl comment should have triggered a fine or suspension, just as any racial slur would if a white player used the N-word against a black player. The league would act swiftly, and rightly so. Yet Griner faced no consequences, and similar incidents, like Angel Reese's outburst, were dismissed as basketball plays. Fans on social media are livid, arguing this hypocrisy erodes trust and costs the league valuable viewership.
I mean, they got a problem. And if this team plays like it played last night, the WNBA's got a serious problem. Okay? Because let's say you were still keeping some casual viewers, you will lose them if they believe this team is not good. This team should, and that was the point in my last video. We don't know the identity of this team. This team doesn't have any chemistry, and this team should be very competitive and or a good team. This team should be good without Caitlin Clark.
And here's why this matters to you. The WNBA's reluctance to fully embrace Caitlin Clark, perhaps out of fear of accusations of favoring a white player in a predominantly black league, is costing them the very fans she draws. This is where everything starts to unravel. By the end of this, you'll see why it's so important. The WNBA stands at a crossroads. Clark's arrival has catapulted the league to new heights, with a staggering 156% spike in attendance in May 2024, and a record-breaking 2.45 million viewers for the draft. Her rivalry with Angel Reese, her signature, logo three-pointers, and her infectious energy have made her a singular figure, akin to Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods in their primes. But here's the final twist. The league's dependence on Clark is a double-edged sword. Without her, the WNBA risks sliding back to the pre-2024 era of modest ratings and half-empty arenas. The billion-dollar vision for 2025 is crumbling. The league's failure to protect its star, combined with its politicized culture and inconsistent officiating, is nothing short of self-destruction.
Well, Caitlin Clark's not growing the game if people won't tune in with her. Look, people tuned out when Jordan went to baseball. They tuned out of the NBA when Jordan went to baseball. And then when Jordan retired, they tuned back out again until Kobe came along. This is not hard. Magic and Bird had the casuals tuned in. Jordan had the casuals tuned in. Kobe had the casuals.
The WNBA's silence, ignoring Clark's injury, failing to address player safety, and allowing glaring double standards to persist, says it all. Fans are voting with their remotes and wallets, staying home when Clark isn't on the court. The league's expansion plans, with new teams in Golden State, Toronto, and Portland, along with a fresh media deal, offer hope. But without Clark, that hope feels fragile and uncertain. As one fan put it on social media, the WNBA is learning the hard way. Caitlin Clark is the show. And here's the best part. What comes next will change the way you see everything. The WNBA must fully embrace Clark, protect its stars, and unify its fan base, or risk losing its shot at greatness. The empty seats are screaming the truth. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. Stay tuned.